In ancient India, a young man named Siddhartha Gautama lived a life where he had everything you could ever imagine: wealth, a loving family, high status, and constant companionship. To everyone around him, he was the ultimate success story. But there's a strange paradox in the human psyche. You can have every comfort and still feel like something is missing. For Siddhartha, the turning point came when he stepped outside his palace and finally saw the reality of the world. Suddenly, his life of luxury felt like a hollow mask. One night, Siddhartha made a radical choice. He walked away. He left his palace, his family, and his identity as an heir to the throne. He didn't leave because he hated them, but because he realized he would never understand the truth of human existence as long as he was shielded by his title as a prince. He spent years in the forest. He faced extreme hunger, physical pain, and the crushing weight of total isolation. He lived without an audience and without the safety net of his father's kingdom. When he finally reached enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, he wasn't a prince anymore. He was the Buddha. He had moved from a social identity given to him by birth to a state of self-authorship and deep internal wisdom. Now, you don't have to move into a cave to experience this, but Siddhartha's journey points to a truth we often ignore in our hyper-connected world. Solitude isn't where you lose yourself. It's often the only place you actually meet yourself. Hi, I'm Min. Welcome to Mindora Explained. Let's look inside the human mind, a universe of forces quietly shaping everything we do. Humans are social by nature. We grow through connection, relationships, and belonging. So why does living alone play such an important role in a healthy life? Psychology suggests that periods of solitude aren't a failure of connection. They're a critical stage of development. When we live with others, our identity is constantly shaped by roles: child, partner, friend, caregiver. Living alone removes those roles. Without an audience, the mind begins to ask deeper questions. What do I actually want? What do I believe when no one is watching? What rhythms feel natural to me? Psychologists call this self-authorship, the ability to define yourself from the inside rather than through others' expectations. This stage is especially important in early adulthood and during major life transitions. Research shows that it offers far more than just independence. You're forced to develop a level of problem-solving confidence that is almost impossible to gain when you have someone else to lean on. It also forces you to master your own finances, sharpens your creative focus, and teaches you to manage your emotions without outside interference. Ultimately, it changes how you connect with others. You stop needing people out of habit and start choosing them out of genuine appreciation. There's also a biological cost to constant company, a kind of social mask. Even with people you love, your partner, your parents, your best friends, a part of your brain is always on. You're subconsciously scanning their facial expressions, adjusting your tone, and compromising on small things like what to eat or what to watch. This is cognitive load. When you're never alone, your nervous system is in a constant state of social scan. Living on your own, even for a short chapter of your life, is a radical act of calibration. It's the only time when you are the default setting. There's no performance. No one is judging your 3 a.m. sleeping habit, how you've rearranged the wall decorations for the 3rd time, or what kind of snacks you've decided to eat for dinner. In your own space, the social mask finally drops, and for the first time, your brain can decompress. This acts as a reset button for a healthy mind. letting you find your own natural rhythm away from the influence of others. This lifestyle builds what psychologists call competence and autonomy. In psychology, autonomy and competence are two of the three basic psychological needs in self-determination theory. Autonomy is the need to feel in control of your own goals and behaviors. It's about volition, the feeling that your actions come from your own interests and values, rather than being forced by a parent, a partner, or a boss. Competence is the need to feel effective in your environment. It's the sense of, I can do this. It's not about being the best in the world. It's about having the skills to meet the challenges of your daily life. Living alone builds this because you have to do everything yourself. When you successfully navigate a lonely Sunday or fix a broken appliance, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And the great thing is that when you live on your own, autonomy and competence fuse into a single experience. You are not just able to fix the light bulb. You are the one who decided it needed fixing and chose how to do it. Psychologists often see this as the bridge to self-efficacy. If you have freedom but no skills, you feel anxious. If you have skills but no freedom, you feel like a robot following orders. Living alone forces both to grow at the same time. You become a person who says, I am free to choose, and I am capable of handling the choice. But to get the full picture of human motivation, we have to mention the third element, relatedness. Relatedness is the need to feel a sense of belonging and attachment to other people. This is why living alone is a temporary necessity rather than a permanent escape. We still need to feel connected to a community to be fully healthy. While you might be focusing on autonomy and competence to strengthen your inner self during your time living alone, this actually makes you better at relatedness later on. You can connect with people as a whole individual rather than someone who is just clinging to others because they cannot survive on their own. For a young adult, this experience builds a kind of strength called resilience. It's something that cannot be learned from a book or a conversation with your parents. It can only be earned by actually living through the challenges of being totally self-reliant. But today, that experience is no longer simple. Staying with your parents during your young adult years is getting more common. And often, it's just a necessity. Rent is expensive, jobs are unstable, and relationships are complicated. For many people, staying home is not a choice. It's a reality. And it's important to say this clearly. There is no shame in that. But there's another truth we don't talk about enough. At some point in life, a person needs space, not just physically, but psychologically. You need a space where your decisions are fully yours, where the consequences are real, and where no one else absorbs the weight of your choices. When you live under someone else's roof, even with all the love and support in the world, part of your mind stays in child mode. This isn't because you're weak. It's because the environment still holds you. Someone else's routines, expectations, worries, and fears quietly shape your daily decisions. You may want independence, but wanting it isn't the same as practicing it. And one more important thing, when the people you love are around, it's easy to slip into a kind of comfortable blindness. Their presence becomes so certain that you start to take their company for granted. It is often only through the act of separation that you begin to realize how much they actually mean to you. When you are not sharing the same four walls every single day, the time you do spend together stops being a routine and starts being a choice. Every visit and every conversation becomes more intentional and more meaningful, simply because you've learned what it feels like to not have them right there. Throughout history, people have noticed a strange and repeating pattern in human life. Again and again, individuals withdraw from the world into solitude, exile, or long periods of silence, only to return later changed in subtle but profound ways. This pattern appears across myths, religions, philosophy, and even modern psychology, suggesting it's not accidental but deeply human. When a person steps away from society, they leave behind familiar roles, constant noise, and the expectations placed on them by others. In that quiet, they are forced to confront fear, uncertainty, and questions they can no longer avoid. Over time, something shifts. The mind slows down, old assumptions loosen, and new perspectives begin to form. When they eventually return to the world, they are no longer the same person they were before. They come back with insight, with restraint, and with a clearer sense of who they are and how they want to live. The most important part of Siddhartha's story isn't that he left, it's that he came back. The goal of living alone isn't to stay alone forever, it's to undergo a reorganization of the self. When you spend time on your own, you return to the world differently. You're more grounded. Your decisions are based on internal values rather than social pressure. Have you ever had a period of living alone that changed you? Or are you currently navigating that silence? Let's talk about it in the comments.